This is a prodigal son story, right? This is one where he has a son who's been in trouble and has had difficulty with addictions and has committed some crimes, perhaps as a part of that addictive behavior. It's also extraordinary as a pardon because it's very pervasive. He has not only pardoned him for the crimes for which he's been convicted, but any crimes that he may have committed over the last many years. So this is an absolute wipe the slate clean pardon, and is quite unusual in that regard.
Well, it's unusual also because the president for the past year has been asked, would you pardon your son with the tax evasion or tax issues, but also the gun issue as well? And those are the two primary, I think, charges. But he kept saying no emphatically. His White House spokeswoman, Karine Jean-Pierre, was asked about this all the time, and she said no.
I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
I can't imagine that he hasn't thought through all of the consequences of changing his mind, and the fact that it really does impact his credibility. On the one hand, I mean, it's underdone. It's easy to understand what changed. The election happened. That was then. This is now. When he was a candidate for the presidency, and when even when he passed the baton to Kamala Harris, he obviously didn't want to make it appear that he was going to be doing special favors for Hunter Biden because of the electoral consequences that might have. Obviously, that's changed. But you're right. It is something that clearly impacts his credibility because this is something he explicitly promised he would not do and then changed his mind and did it.
It's been done before. Presidents have pardoned family members. Donald Trump pardoned his son-in-law's father, Charles Kushner. Bill Clinton pardoned Roger Clinton. Would you say that this particular pardon is more unusual than those? And the other question behind that is when Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon.
Finally, I feel that Richard Nixon and his loved ones have suffered enough.
Boy, he got a lot of heat on that right after.
Right.
And he took a big hit then. He was not reelected president, but if I recall, the election was very close.
Yeah, the 1976 election was very close. I mean, look, this situation is different from the one with Roger Clinton or with Jared Kushner's father. Roger Clinton was, the kind of the kick around younger brother that made a few errors here and there, and we all knew about that, but it didn't get a lot of publicity. Charles Kushner's conviction was before President Trump became president and had nothing to do at all with President Trump himself. Obviously, this is very different because it's close to President Biden. It happened while he was in public office. It happened with his son, not an in-law. And it was a very, very high-profile case. On the other hand, it doesn't rise nearly to the level of pardoning an ex-president of the United States. The Ford pardon of Richard Nixon is in an entirely different category. I mean, Hunter Biden has never served in public office. He's never sought public office. And while we could argue that he's been a grifter on his father's time in office, there's nothing here that has to do with an elected official or even official in a trusted position violating the provisions of that trust. So it's a very different case than Richard Nixon's pardon.